1998 FIA GT Championship with Warsteiner, partner in the Eurosport team.
Hello, I'm Martin Haven. Join me as we look back at the 1998 FIA GT Championship, a championship that pitched Porsche against Mercedes and Porsche against Chrysler in the GT2 category. 10 GT1 cars on the start line for the first race at a cold, wet and windy Oschersleben circuit near Magdeburg in the former East Germany, and the enthusiastic, if sparse, crowd here to see the might of the Stuttgart giants battling against each other. In GT2, it was Kohreuser's Marcos versus the Porsches that were numerically superior, and the Chrysler Vipers, run by the Oreca team, that were expected to set the pace. Well, sensation in qualifying was Jörg Müller in the number 8 factory Porsche, blitzing ahead of the field. The blue Person Motorsport CLK GTR V12 cars joining the AMG Mercedes team that ran the machines in the 97 series. But Jörg Müller's opening stint in the Porsche saw him pull away into a very commanding lead in the early stages of the race. The young single-seater race leading, as behind him Mercedes and Porsche got tangled up. Alain McNish being spun out by the number 2 Ricardo Zonta Klaus Ludwig car, and then almost getting caught by Martin Stretton in the Franz Conrad 66 car in the gravel traps. A pit stop for McNish to have the underfloor replaced on his car. The bumpy curbs at the short, tight Oschersleben circuit didn't suit the Porsche at all, and the floor was starting to separate. In GT2, the Chrysler Viper, number 51, Olivier Beretta and Pedro Lamy, versus Kohreuser and Harold Becker's Marcos, and a great battle with the front-engined V8 and V10 powered machines, with the 911 GT2 Porsches providing support. Jörg Müller handing over the race-leading car to Uwe Alsen, and at this stage of the race, Porsche looking in a fairly good situation despite McNish's retirement. Bernd Schneider coming in to hand over to his teammate Mark Webber, but in fact he decided to stay in the car for a second stint, and a long pit stop this because of problems with the starter, something that was to afflict the V12 cars all year long. So the Mercedes challenge taken up then by the number 2 machine, Klaus Ludwig and Ricardo Zonta, while the battle for second place was between the number 12 car of Jean-Marc Gouron and Marcel Thiemann and the number 8 car of Uwe Alsen and early leader Jörg Müller. They were ahead of the Zach Speed car of Sander Grau and Andreas Schelt, but problems for the second of the Person Motorsport cars, Bernd Mailander and Christoph Bouchou's machine, retiring with transmission problems. Into the pits, Uwe Alsen, and this was not a scheduled pit stop. The number 8 Works Porsche, also in trouble with its under tray starting to split away. In trouble, the number 70 Marcos, and this is why it lost its nose. Harold Becker rather, being slightly shunted there by the Panos, run by David Brabham and Eric Bernard. Well, with new nose about to be lapped in the GT2 category by Olivier Beretta and Pedro Lamy, Claudia Herken and Stefan Ortelli for Rook Porsche second, ahead of the third third-placed Chrysler Viper of Wendlinger and Donahue. David Donahue, the American driver, sharing with Carl Wendlinger. And problems coming back onto the circuit for the Porsche there. This is the Zach Speed car, number 5 of Sandy Grau and Andreas Schelt, running strongly. Another of the 911 GT1 98 cars, but run privately by the Zach Speed team. Thomas Boucher in trouble in the McLaren and getting clouted by the number 61 Elf Harboter 911 GT2 car. The McLaren, a race winner a year ago, and in 1998 really passed its sell-by date. Didn't stop Boucher and teammate Jeff Lees trying very hard with it, but it was clear that Evolution had left the car behind. The race leader at this stage then, in the closing part of the race, Klaus Ludwig and Ricardo Zonta. The old hand at Mercedes and the youngster who was the 1997 FIA Formula 3000 champion, combining superbly to lead the race as once more the number 8 machine came into the pits, and this time into permanent retirement. Both Works Porsches, having looked so quick early in the race, out as their under trays split away. So, building up a commanding lead, Klaus Ludwig and Ricardo Zonta, and their efforts helped by this problem for Mark Webber in the final couple of corners just before the pits. Webber losing a wheel, the Aussie, who shared with Bernd Schneider, bringing the car back in, and after a slightly elongated pit stop, going back out with 4 wheels on his wagon, setting quick lap times in the final stint, but not able to do anything about the car that romped to victory The number 2 machine, Klaus Ludwig, Ricardo Zonta, leading a Mercedes 1-2-3 for the first time in championship history. One manufacturer claiming all 3 positions on the podium. Mark Webber coming through to take that 3rd place ahead of the GT2 winning number 51 Chrysler Viper. So success for Mercedes and success for Chrysler. But that Mercedes 1-2-3, the AMG cars sandwiching the Person Motorsport car of Gunnar and Thiemann. Grau and Schelt, the best Porsche, the Zack-Speed car in 4th ahead of Bernard and Brabham's Panos. And it was Chrysler Vipers 1st and 2nd, the Oreca cars, ahead of the best of the Porsches, and that was Franz Conrad and Nick Ham's 911 GT2 in 3rd. Round 2 of the championship, a very different circuit and very different conditions, blazing sunshine and balmy spring temperatures at Silverstone, the full Grand Prix circuit. And once more it was Porsche on pole. This time though, Alan McNish, the Scot, had gone and put the number 7 car out of reach of the rest of the field. But David Brabham had run him very close in the Panos, which started 2nd. The Mercedes lining up behind them, Uwe Altzen in the middle, but getting dropped away a little bit at the start by the number 2 machine, Klaus Ludwig and Ricardo Zonta's car. Well, problems early on for the Marcel Thiemann started number 12 machine. Person Motorsport car spinning out into the gravel and effectively finishing its race there and then. Well, problems after just 20 laps in the lead for the number 8 Porsche. Alan McNish having led at Silverstone from pole position and then dropping out of the race. So disappointing retirements for different reasons in the first 2 races of the year for McNish, and problems here for the leader, David Brabham, as he's tubbed out by an over-anxious Uwe Altzen. Brabham in the gravel, out of the race, and not happy.
I looked in the mirror and he was a couple of car lengths behind like he was normally. And I braked a bit later than normal just to make sure that he wasn't going to try anything. And he just tried something stupid. I just cannot believe it. And he's just obviously couldn't stop and he's hit me and round we go. So I'm absolutely disappointed for the whole team because, you know, it's the first time the Panos has been leading. We had a lot of people here from Motorola and Vistion, and it was an important race for us. But unfortunately, stupidity has just taken us out.
Well, no doubting the Australians' feelings there. A stop-and-go penalty for the Porsche effectively ruled out the chances for the number 8 car. And Bernd Schneider then leading the race from Bartels and Hahne, the best of the Porsches, in 2nd and 3rd place. So Altzen and Muller, despite their stop-and-go penalty, still the best of the rest. Well, the number 2 Mercedes working its way past the Zack-Speed car. And again, Ludwig and Zonta on fine form in the AMG car. Ricardo Zonta starting a trend that would last all season, taking no prisoners in traffic. Beretta and Lamy, the winners in GT2 at Oschersleben, leading again, but problems for the Franz Conrad car, number 66, once more. They're 3rd placed in Oschersleben, and with a tyre exploding at Silverstone. Everybody feeling the heat at the Northampton circuit. Well, the Porsche setting the fastest lap. Uwe Altzen, after his stop and go, after his collision with David Brabham, trying to make up for lost time. The number 6 Porsche, the best of the Zack-Speed cars, coming home in a strong 3rd place. But there was little that Porsche could do this early in the season about the Mercedes. It may have been the 1997 V12 car, but it was good enough for Bernd Schneider and Mark Webber, romping away to victory in round 2 of the championship. So 2 races gone and 2 wins for Mercedes. Bernd Schneider delighted in this last race of the CLK GTR.
I've just told us this is the last race for the V12. You must be happy with that.
I'm absolutely happy with that. Now I got the first victory with the V12, and the last one, maybe not, because the person team is still running with it, but and everybody had saw today that the car is still fighting for winning.
Well, Olivier Beretta winning the GT2 category in the Chrysler Viper that he would use to such good effect throughout the year. But Bernd Schneider confirming what Norbert Haug had just let slip, that the V8 brand new LM car would be raced by the AMG team for the rest of the series after the Le Mans break. Well, Le Mans not a championship round, but everybody still, of course, going there hoping to win the French Classic. 2nd for Porsche, not what they'd hoped for after qualifying at Silverstone, but better than nothing. Schneider, Ludwig, Webber and Zonta leading the Drivers' Championship from Uwe Alsen and Jürg Müller, the best of the Porsches, along with the Person Motorsport drivers. So the GT2s, Beretta and Lamy winning again, this time from Michel Neugarten, Gert Ruck and Marco Spinelli in their car, and Uwe Sick and Axel Ruhr making Porsche 911 GT2s second and third. But Beretta and Lamy leading the championship from their teammates, Wendlinger, Donahue. The championship resumed at Hockenheim for round 3. And of course, in the interim, Mercedes had debuted their V8 LM cars at the Le Mans 24 Hours. The new V8 failed, but it was used in the championship to good effect by Bernd Schneider to take pole from Ricardo Zonta at the first race of the post-Le Mans era. And the new V8 car proved to be so much of an evolution that Porsche were left scratching their heads. Bernd Schneider pushing hard as Jürg Müller brings his car into the pits with vibrations and flat spots. Well, the early mechanical problems for Porsche seem to have been cured, but driver error by Yannick Dalmas here, spinning out on the back of the ultra-high-speed Hockenheim circuit, trying to find a way past the GT2 Viper. Well, that effectively ruled Dalmas and McNish out of the race, and this effectively ruled Sandy Grau's Zaxpeed car out of the race, blazing at the rear end. Dramatic-looking fire, the driver desperately trying to find a marshal's post to pull over before he bailed out. Well, as the Porsche armies started to fall by the wayside, Bernd Schneider and Mark Webber leading from Klaus Ludwig and Ricardo Zonta. They may have failed at Le Mans. Porsche winning with Alan McNish and Sebastian Ortelli, I beg your pardon, and Laurent Aiello. But Mercedes continuing in their winning ways in the GT series. Well, this is the third-place car. Jean-Marc Goudon, Marcel Thiemann doing a strong job, along with their teammates Christoph Bouchou and Bernd Mailänder in third and fourth. So Mercedes running 1, 2, 3, 4 at this stage. And in GT2, Olivier Beretta and Pedro Lamy leading from Carl Wendlinger and David Donahue. Donahue, along with Justin Bell and Luca Drudi, had won GT2 at Le Mans for the Viper team. Problems for the number 56 Rook Porsche. Claudio Hürtgen and Stefan Ortelli ran the fastest of the GT2 Rooks all year long, the 56 car, but it was stricken more often than not with mechanical problems. The number 11 Mercedes refusing to fire up and being push-started, this strictly against the regulations. Outside assistance allowed to restart the car, but then it must be switched off and it must start again under its own power. And as a result, the 11 car black flagged out of the race. So Goudon and Thiemann continuing, but Bouchou and Mailander's car being black flagged for that push start. And as we saw throughout the season, a hot V12 CLK GTR, a very tricky car to restart. After 51 laps, then Schneider, Webber, Ludwig and Zonta. What's more, the best placed of the works Porsches, the car of Alsen and Müller. Not always the quickest, but they seem to have better luck. Bouncing around, the aerodynamic balance of the V12 cars always made them look a real handful to drive. Their great traction in tricky conditions, keeping them in the running. Another spectacular fire for the Porsche. Uwe Alsen leaving the track at high speed and a blaze at the back of the 911 GT1 98. Another dramatic looking retirement from the Hockenheim race. Everybody getting very hot and bothered. Alsen disconsolately slamming the door. I don't think he even realized there was a blaze there. The Panos then up into third place with 3 laps to go, ahead of the number 12 Mercedes.